What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's new episode. We are doing today's episode on Mr. Jozef Chen. Now, if you guys don't know who Jozef Chen is, he is a BJJ competitor who recently received his black belt at 20 years old. Now, he's training at a B team, and he has a very interesting story on how he started training. He's really known in the jiu-jitsu space about improving very fast. And a lot of people are asking him, like, yo, how'd you get so good? How'd you get so good? We're going to find out that question. So I hope you guys enjoy today's episode. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. Now let's get after it. So Jozef Chen, he started training around 16 years old. He was introduced to jiu-jitsu by the actual, I think, UFC 3. It was a UFC video game. Thought the Imanari roll was cool. He's like, all right, let's try this martial arts thing. And he actually started with striking, realized like, yo, getting hit sucks. Let's try jiu-jitsu. And once he started training jiu-jitsu, he fell in love. Now, I believe he started training in China, in Nanjing, China, and then eventually he wanted to go visit B Team. So we'll have some footage here of him visiting B Team in the early days of B Team. And he was a big fan of the Danaher Death Squad, I'm sure. So he just decided that after the team split up, a B Team was the best fit for him. After that, after him visiting B Team, he had this kind of ultimatum of what to do. He's like, okay, should I finish high school? Testing's coming up, finals are coming up, but there's also ADCC trials coming up. And your boy picked ADCC trials, and he ended up winning, right? And he really proved himself that he could do this. Now, he had to talk to his parents for a little bit, like, yo, I could always go back to school and stuff, and kind of gave him the freedom to really start training and putting a lot of time in. Now, Jozef Chen is known for watching and taking things from instructionals, could be pirated or not, but he is known for being an avid student of jiu-jitsu. Now, he's very smart. He's very well-mannered, well-versed in his vocabulary. And he's very inspiring to the younger audience just trying to get good at jiu-jitsu. And actually, my first video that I seen from him was a guard passing instructional, and it was a while back. And I didn't really think much of it until I started seeing his name pop up with these these podcast clips of him on BJJ Mental Models and him talking about his approach on how he improved. Now, some of those ways that he improved was through reading. He had a couple books that he recommended. The Will to Keep Winning by Daigo Humera, which is pretty much a video game book based on a Street Fighter player. He has a book that he mentioned called Mastery, which just talks about mastering things and tinkering. And there's another book. The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. Also a great listen if you guys had the chance, about a chess prodigy who adapted different learning styles to improve in his chess and in life itself. So there's definitely a lot of correlation between chess, video games, jiu-jitsu, just because a lot of it is strategy based. A lot of it takes a lot of effort and time to improve in certain skills. There's strengths, there's weaknesses. And that's really why I tend to check out a lot of Jozef Chen's videos, because I myself am a fan of video games. I myself found myself kind of immersed in this land of video games, and I kind of want to step away from it. And then I found jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, hey, I could kind of use that video game stuff in jiu-jitsu, which is not a video game, but pretty much him encapsulating that kind of gamer spirit and applying it is actually pretty inspirational, I'm not gonna lie. So he actually performed very well at CJI last year. If you guys don't know, CJI is a new jiu-jitsu tournament. It was $1 million tournament, and he did well. He ended up, beating Andy Varela, losing to Lucas Barbosa. But honestly, dude, very entertaining. There's tons of matches online that you could check out from Jozef, and you could tell this guy's about that life, bro. So something I really wanted to emphasize on is that learning process that I was talking about. Some of that from Josh Waitzkin from The Art of Learning. The first concept is form to leave form. And it's pretty much about learning something so much that you don't even think about it anymore. So if we take a concept like Kobe Bryant shooting a free throw, I'm sure the first time Kobe shot the first 1,000 free throws, he was very conscious of what he was doing, right? He probably took like 3 dribbles, looked at the rim, took a deep breath, follow through, make sure the form was there. But once you do it so many times, it becomes muscle memory. So it's kind of building around that same type of topic. With jiu-jitsu, I'm sure it's a lot harder to have mastered certain moves, but if you do it on a daily basis, you should be able to kind of have this stuff kind of downloaded into your system. And another concept is making smaller circles, which is something that we don't hear about too often, about just focusing on a few things at a time and then diving deeper instead of trying to learn new moves. Especially if we think about it in a video game aspect. Say we're playing FIFA, right? We want to learn all these 5-star skill moves, but focusing on the ones that are very effective. There's like a couple step overs. There's just a different way of looking at it. Instead of trying to collect all these moves, using the ones that are very effective and finding out why moves work, and checking out like the videos on YouTube of him breaking down concepts, and say like a knee cut or a guard pass, or he talks about why the move works and what kind of reactions the partner would have and what to do after these certain reactions. So it's very well thought. It's not just him just like going willy-nilly. Like there's actually some basis on what he's saying, and he's young, but he definitely knows what he's talking about. One other thing that actually stood out to me was Jozef talking about balancing and not overly focusing on jiu-jitsu. Now, if you guys train, I'm sure it's super easy to go freaking balls to the wall and just focus on jiu-jitsu, not think about anything else. But he does recommend to go explore other things, other aspects, other fields, and having fun with those as well, just because there is a certain level where you could get where you just are burnt out. You're training every day, all you're thinking about is jiu-jitsu. In the middle of the night, you're doing hip escapes, doing inversions, and it's like there's a certain point where you could lose the fun in it. And I really haven't heard too many people talking about it, about like being interested in other fields and aspects to keep kind of the jiu-jitsu thing enjoyable. I really enjoy those types of topics, and just kind of the different ways of training. Like he has a growth training where he's just working on other things like certain weaknesses, and then he has like a performance mode where he's just working on the things that he uses in competition. Now, I didn't really understand that until I competed for the first time, and I was like, oh yeah, it's different from the training room, from competition. Obviously you would think so, but it's honestly a lot more different than I thought personally. I was thinking like, oh, I'll be able to think, I'll be like, oh, strategize what I could do here in this type of situation. But when it comes to performance, what I've heard is that it's like Formula One racing, where it's like things are going at a fast pace. You kind of have to be instinctual when it comes to your reactions, and just taking that to the training room and kind of figuring out how to train has improved a ton. So Jozef Chen's mindset is pretty much why he's so popular, to be honest. We're going to listen to a little bit of this podcast here. I want to show you guys a little bit of the podcast so you guys get a better feel of Jozef's mindset, and we'll see what we could find here.
That's actually kind of the inspiration for this podcast. This all came about because we realized that a lot of the ways that you would make good decisions in life, or look for patterns, a lot of the mental models cross over from different sports to different industries to different professions. And yeah, you can actually learn a lot about strategy by studying what people in other sports or in other endeavors do. And sometimes that can give you a really fresh take on things that you might not have thought about yourself just by immersing yourself in whatever sport you normally play.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that especially in sports that have existed, or at least existed competitively for longer than jiu-jitsu has, there can be a lot that can be taken from various arts, like whether it be boxing. You hear a lot of boxing analogies in jiu-jitsu. You can hear a lot of judo crossover. I think there's something to be taken from most other areas. It's just a matter of being open-minded enough. And I think in your attempts to try to find new information, there's going to be a lot of failure, because though there are many similarities, obviously there's significant differences. However, I think that's what you kind of have to expect when you're looking for not necessarily a competitive advantage, or just to try to find new ideas and try push it a little further.
So that's pretty much how Jozef is getting better at jiu-jitsu. Let me know if you guys enjoy this type of video. I know we do fighter breakdowns with UFC fighters and talking about other stuff. This is actually my first jiu-jitsu one. I know we did one on Chrome, but he does MMA, so it's kind of different just because he does MMA now. But you know, I really enjoy this type of stuff, listening to new ideas, new frameworks. And the main thing that I've taken away from Jozef Chen is taking different ideas from other aspects, martial arts, other games, etc., and trying to apply it to the learning process. And I feel like the learning process is something not really talked about enough when it comes to mindset and the way to see different types of things. I know a lot of it's focused on like drilling, ecological approach, but just kind of the different ways that we could actually see what jiu-jitsu is. But at the end of the day, I'm just a blue belt. I'm just trying to learn. But I do find content like that from BJJ Mental Models, Jozef Chen, and YouTube, man. YouTube could be a great tool to use to be able to discover new things. And who knows what you could find. You type anything in that search bar, you'll find a couple results. We'll get a quote from Kobe Bryant. I'll pull it up on here. And this is one of my favorite things that I enjoyed from Kobe. Thank you guys for watching today's episode. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, basketball for me was the most important thing. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
The world becomes your library to help you improve your craft, better your craft.
Yes, indeed.
So because you know what you want, the world's giving you exactly the information you need to become better at it.
Because you know what you're looking for.